As we come to the beginning of our meeting, we ask the spiritual benefactors, guardian angels that are here with us to inspire us, instruct us, and guide us in this time that we are going through so many changes. The guardian angels that are here for the beautiful meeting we're going to have today. And protect us always. Thank you. So be it.
Thank you. So let me start sharing my screen. So today, as I said, I have to leave about 15 something minutes earlier. I'll be giving a talk, and so, yeah. Tiago, can you read for us?
Sure. Chapter 2, Future Joys and Sorrows. Would you like me to read the items too, or go straight to the question?
Oh, go straight to the question.
Sounds good.
Just say, just a moment, let me say just good morning to everyone. I forgot to say that. Good to see you there. So I went just straight to the to the action, right? Sorry.
All right, so question 958 in regards to nothingness and future life. 958, why do human beings have an instinctive horror of nothingness? Because there is no such thing as nothingness. 959, from where do we derive the instinctive sense of a future life? We already told you. The spirit knows everything before reincarnation, and the soul retains a vague memory of what it knew in its spirit state. Human beings have always been preoccupied with the question of a life after death, and this is completely natural. Whatever importance they may attach to this life, they cannot help but wonder about the future, since this life is brief and may be cut short at any moment. What becomes of them after death? The question is a serious one, because it refers to eternity and not just a few years. The person who is about to spend many years in a foreign country tries to determine what his or her position will be there beforehand. In that vein, how could we not wonder what our state will be when we leave our present life, since it will be forever? The idea of reduction to nothingness is averse to reasoning. The most negligent person about to leave this life wonders what is going to become of him or her, and involuntarily hopes for something more. To believe in God without believing in a future life is illogical. The intuition of a better life lies in every human being's inner consciousness. God cannot have placed it there without a reason. The concept of a spiritual life implies the preservation of our individuality after death. What is the point of surviving the body if our moral essence is lost in the ocean of infinity? Such a result is the same as reduction to nothingness.
Okay, anyone has a comment first?
Yes, Josiah, I sent you an important question that's very related to what he just read. It's in the chat. Or I could tell you briefly. Should I tell you briefly?
Yeah, I'm hearing you not so well. Try verbally if I can't hear you well. You put in the chat, okay?
Yeah, it's in the chat already.
It's in the chat already. Let me look at this here because I didn't have the chat open. Let me look for it. Just a second. I don't see anything typed in the chat. Maybe you haven't sent it.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. I could see it. You know.
Is anyone seeing it or no?
No.
No. Maybe you didn't send.
Uh,
Oh, now it's here.
oh, okay. I made a mistake.
On behalf of the dead and dying people, victims of the coronavirus, sought the Spirit tell them when it comes to free will and choosing to be resuscitated by the than by not reincarnated. Well, in Spiritism, we do not understand that spirits resuscitate, because resuscitate would mean to use bring your spirit back in the same body that has decomposed. So in Spiritism, we only talk about reincarnation, and reincarnation is always going to be in the majority of the cases the result of the choice of the spirit that is going to be preparing their lives, their life plan beforehand. When we are about to reincarnate, we actually have an understanding of what the benefits of this reincarnation is going to bring to us. And in this sense, we are going to choose accordingly in terms of the experiences we are going to have, the main events in our lives, everything that will actually help us in the sense of, our main objective, which is to grow spiritually speaking. So in this case, we also will choose the type of death and the approximate period in our approximate period in our lives that our return to the spirit realm is going to happen. In this sense, this is one of the reasons why this idea of nothingness in future life is somehow imprinted in all human beings, in all spirits. Because according to our understanding, according to what we study in Spiritism, we have been back and forth many times. So even if in the present incarnation somehow we do not have the certainty that life goes on, that we are immortal spirit, which again, and we are going to repeat over 80% of the Americans believe in that, and 90% of the world's population believe in a life after death. Again, just explaining that we have different understanding on what happens after death, but the majority do believe that life goes on. So this is why, in a way, although not being so certain, we may have this, this fear really in terms of the nothingness, and like the spirits tell us here. In a way, even when we are at the verge of dying, whether you are a skeptical person or not, you have the instinctive desire that you may be wrong. For people who do not believe in life after death, when the time comes, they hope that the majority of them, of course, will hope that this is not true, that they are not going to simply be obliterated from history, from life once and for all. So again, it's always the choice of the spirit, the time that they are going to stay on this life. when it will be the time for them to depart, what sort of illnesses or something will be the reason why for them to depart. Of course, there are people that will have long lives and will have natural death. There are others that will go to illnesses. There are others that are going to be facing accidents. All of that we are going to be having. And to many people, and I think this is the reason why many people in a way look for answers in spirituality, is exactly that, the idea that, you know, how can we reduce all that we are to nothingness? And in the last paragraph, they also say something very important here in terms of individuality after death. Another idea, because we have already studied those points, there are some people that do believe that yes, we do not end, but we lose our individuality. This is not the case in Spiritism. We do believe that we do not lose our individuality, that we are not just going to be, like they say here, living in the ocean of infinity. That would represent the same as the reduction to nothingness, because then we would not be able to have free will. Then it would complicate all the processes of reincarnation. So that's why, in a way, although we have this veil of forgetfulness on purpose, because it's better for us not to remember previous incarnation, it's that somehow deep inside, even with during the times that we are asleep and that we have the emancipation of the spirit, we somehow hint and hope that continuity is a reality.
Josiah,
Yeah.
On behalf of the dying people, or let me put it this way, this virus has made us more aware of our faith, and spiritists should explain to them that as far as Christians' faith goes, these people are waiting, they'll be waiting to be resuscitated, and this belief is contrary to the spirit's life, and people have to know when they die where they're going to go. I mean, they're going to go to the spirit world, and they're going to complain. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be wait till I get resuscitated. And so all this is the time now for the spiritist organization to make aware of the spirit life.
You know, Orlando, the rules of the game are very clear. They are very clear for us here on Earth when human laws indicate to us that we have to abide by the laws. We have laws, we have constitutions on the countries, everything that will try to prevent, us from, treading in paths that will generate bad consequences to us. It's not different when we are talking about the life of the spirit. We have the divine laws, they are there. And in the same way that we exercise our right to choose our path on earth, we exercise our right to choose on our spiritual path. But in the same way that there are consequences according to how I behave on my physical life, materially speaking, on the earth, there will be consequences as I act as a spirit. So again, there is no one else that is responsible for what happens to us than we ourselves. And this is something that each and every one, regardless of whether you have a faith, whether you have a spiritist faith, you know that if you kill someone, you will go to jail and you will pay for your crimes. And we don't see to be surprised by that. We don't say to the judges, but you're wrong. Why did you condemn this person that is, you know, going out and killing everyone and stealing from everyone? We don't do that. Why do we try to do that with the divine laws? Because it's not in our interest, and because we think that there are no rules. We just abide by the rules that we have here. And so again, the only person that is responsible for what happens in life, in death, in spirit life is us ourselves. And
Right.
so in this situation now, you are very right when you say, you know, we are facing something that has been very difficult to us all, and that has bring, you know, we are all frightened with what can happen, not only to ourselves, but with our loved ones. So in a way, for everyone, the idea of death became closer. And the anticipation of not knowing whether this may happen to us soon or not, if it's going to be because of this virus or something else, it is leading us to reconnect more with our spiritual beliefs, which does not represent only spiritism, but all the beliefs that we have in the world. I'm sure that we have never had so many people praying and thinking about the creator, whatever name we want to give to this creator, than we are having right now. Because we only remember, it's very much like a child. We want to have our freedom. My father, my mother is, you know, is picking on me and this or that. But as soon as something bad happens, what do we do? What do they do? Run to the lap of their fathers and mothers. So this is what we are doing now. We have been slapped by life very hard. And in a way, at least I imagine, sensible people are using and taking this opportunity to return to the lap or to the bosom, let's say, so to say, of God. Anyone else would like to?
Just very quickly, I just want to say that as always, with your open mind, you understand me and you understand the situation. And what I'm doing is I'm reaching to those Kardashian groups in Facebook and the religious group and trying to have them understand that this is our moment to be aware of what it is, the direction or the explore faith from
Absolutely.
from
Yeah.
from the religious and the spiritual, but the spiritists could do more. And I'm doing this. This is my mission. So that's all I have to say. And once again, beautiful. You understand beautifully. But we got to, as spiritists, we must stand up and make the connection and understanding.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to say something or comment something? So no one here is afraid of dying. There is a backdrop. If you can close your mics while you're not talking, just to be sure that we don't have this back voice. No, is everyone okay with the idea or this? There is nothing. Okay, so let's go to intuition of future joys and sorrows.
Question 960. From where does the belief in future pains and rewards originate? It is an institution of the reality imparted to each person by the spirit incarnated in them. Know this well. It is not in vain that this inner voice speaks to you, and you are wrong in ignoring it. If you thought of this enough and more often, you would be better off. 961. What is the predominant feeling when one is dying? Is it doubt, fear, or hope? Doubt for the skeptical, fear for the guilty, and hope for the virtuous.
Okay, we can stop here. So in a way, like I said, it is imprinted in our spirit, the many lives that we have lived, the back and forth that we had from physical to spiritual life. And so that is the reason why we somehow have this kind of intuition. And many times, because we have this understanding, and also due to the assistance of the spirits, we will have this inner voice that will tell us, that will say to us whether we are doing a good deed or not in relation to our choices. Because let's say that since we're talking about criminals today, that I was a criminal in my past incarnation, and it didn't end well, right? Thank God, because I had the opportunity to learn the lesson. But I come back and I'm very tempted to do it again for whatever reason. So somehow, because it is imprinted in me, the experience that I had in the past, I will have like this inner voice kind of telling me, remember last time you did that? And that you were in the wrong, and that you were not supposed to be taking this path, and how everything was, the consequences of your actions turned out to be very bad for you. Are you sure you want to go into the same path again in this new opportunity? So of course the voice perhaps is not going to use so many words, but there will be this feeling that, something that will kind of prevent you, hinder you to take action in going through a bad road, or the opposite. Remember when you used to give alms to the poor and how fulfilled you felt at that occasion. Now in this lifetime, I'm having the opportunity of doing good, doing some sort kind of charity, and there will be that, you know what, I know this is going to bring me happiness inside. I will feel fulfillment. That it comes from a previous experience. So the idea of dying is because now I just remember of a Portuguese saying, gato escaldado não tem medo de água. How can I say that in English? We have traumas, right? We have traumas. So the fear of dying can be a result of my previous experience when I had to return to the spirit realm, and things were not so good because I were not so good, right? So here, like they say, what we are going to be feeling most of the time is going to be, like they say here, doubt for skeptical, fear for the guilt, and hope for the virtues. Let's read the next one to finish commenting this topic, and then we open for questions and comments.
962. How can skeptics exist, considering that the soul imparts the sense of spirituality to all? There are fewer skeptics than you think. Many of those who feign skepticism during life out of pride are much less skeptical when they die. The quality of our future life depends on our actions. Reason, supported by a sense of justice, tell us that the good and the bad are not mistaken in our ultimate sharing of happiness. God, will not allow some people to obtain joy effortlessly, while others obtain it only through much exertion. Our faith in God's justice and goodness, as evidenced by the wisdom of God's laws, forbids us to believe that the good and the bad hold the same place before God. Conversely, there is no doubt that, eventually, the good are rewarded and the bad atone for the good and evil they have done. From an innate sense of justice, we derive our instinct of future rewards and atonements.
You see, here it's very interesting when the spirits tell us that there are fewer skeptics than we think. I do believe, because this is one of other comments that we have in the Spirits book, that many people prefer not to profess any kind of faith because somehow they know that they will have to redesign themselves, their way of living. And they are not willing to do that. So because they prefer to be and continue being the way they are, they do not want anything in the way that could perhaps trigger a guilt feeling, which does not mean necessarily that they do not have a belief. They just prefer not to profess and to be part of any kind of belief. But from everything that we read and commented here today, this first phrase that is the comment of Kardec, because as you know, we have in the Spirit's book, and for those who do not know, the italic here means questions that Kardec asked the spirits. The bigger font represents the answer of the spirits. And the smaller ones that we see, like this one here, represents the comments of Kardec, reasoning on what the spirits have answered in relation to the questions asked. So it's kind of like he makes a wrap up of the ideas presented by the spirits to us. And here, when he says, the quality of our future life depends on our actions, this is absolutely brilliant. In the sense that, again, only us are responsible for what happens to us here and in the beyond. He says here, depends on our actions. It doesn't say depends on our religion, depends on if we have faith or not, if we profess this faith or not, if we go to the church or to the temples, I don't know how many times a week. It doesn't say anything related to beliefs. Because many people will come here and say, but what about the poor ones that do not have this understanding that Spiritism brings? Well, Spiritism broadens our perspective and understanding on everything. But like we said, we have human laws. We have our inner conscience that guide us in the sense of saying this that you're planning to do is going to bring a lot of pain to your life, or this that you are trying to do is going to be a lot of happiness to your life. So God is love, mercy, and justice.
Jusara, so just like you explained it so beautifully, it's in our conscience. It's there, it's imprinted there when we're born and we come back.
If we look back, we have people that were very religious. Actually, there were priests, cardinals, etc. Were they good? Are they in heaven? Many are not. Zoraida?
Yes.
You want?
Yes, yes. No, I'm saying that it's in our conscience. We've always had it. We come back and it's there. The problem here is that we ignore it. We don't want to face it. Is that what you're saying? We don't want to face it. And everything is done according to our work, and it comes from the past. Everything we do today it's a reference to what we were before, and everything it's a simple concept, but hard to understand. And at the end of the day, it's there. It's printed in there. So all we need to do is work at it and understand and try to change our ways and don't worry so much about, like you said, we worry so much about being happy, but we have to think of what's going on, like what's going on now. There's a whole lot of things that you have to, in your conscious mind, and think and say, something is going on here. I mean, if you can't think of that now, then, I'm not putting anyone down for no sense of the word, but there is so much now to contemplate, to think now, what's going on here? There's work to be done, and if you want to face it, then you do it. If many are ignoring a lot of things that are going on, and many are doing all the blessings that they can do. There's a lot of prayers going on around the world. It's beautiful, but we're not perfect. We have so much, and not worry so much about the happiness, but look at what's going on and try to reprimand, try to fix it. Something that everyone has something to do and contribute to goodness in life. And if everyone would just take time and stop and think, it will be a little easier, even though it's so difficult now. Mm-hmm. But we have to think what's really going on. And it's there. It's in the intuition. We have to understand certain things. And if we don't, it's going to be harder for each and every one of us. I don't know. Am I right? Or
You see, Zoraida, it's not difficult, the understanding. Actually, it's very simple. Love God about all things and your neighbors like yourself. Do to others what you want others to do to you. It's very simple. It's everywhere. Everyone has at least once in their life probably heard that. Okay, maybe the tribes in the middle of the jungle, they haven't, but they heard something similar. So it's very simple. The thing is
hard to do.
Hard to do and hard to decide to make the effort, like Kardec says, the spiritists, true spiritists are going to be known by the effort they're due to control or to eliminate their negative inclinations. Okay, their bad inclinations. So the problem is, the majority of people prefer to have deaf ears to this understanding, because it's too hard. It means they have to change their ways, and they are not willing to change their ways. Mm-hmm. It's very, very simple. I think we complicated it. We bring a lot of, extra, additional information just to see if once and for all it gets into our brain, into our spirit, and makes us do something about it. So the majority of people will say, no, I don't want to stop having bad thoughts about people. I don't want to stop, conducting my life in a lewd way because I enjoy this way of life. No, I don't want to stop, getting drunk each and every day. I don't want to stop doing bad to everyone that is that I consider to be hindering my way. So this is the thing. And when they do that, I mean, it is exactly because we have the intuition that they are being seen, that they will have to answer for that, that makes them close themselves so much to that, because it's very much like the ostrich, you know. I bury my head in the sand,
Yes,
and nothing is happening. So this is what we are doing with all those the teachings we are receiving. We bury our hands on the sand and say, no, from my perspective, none of that is happening, you know, and so I don't have to change. And I think it hurts our pride so much when we think like that, like you said, Zoraida, to think that everything is in our hands and is still, with all the knowledge, with all the understanding, we are not mending ourselves as much as we could with the possibilities that we have.
Zoraida,
yes, my darling, yes.
Just what you said, that's what I'm doing. The virus, this virus situation has opened a door, and I'm taking advantage of that door opening and communicating with congregations in Facebook and religious people, and like you say, try to bring their minds together, understanding. But we spiritists, we have to stop saying, I don't mind dying. I don't mind going through hundreds of reincarnations. The outside people don't see it that way. They are afraid. They don't know, and slowly they have to be introduced. And this is what I'm trying to do.
Oh, yes. And there are many people like you that are they're on this planet right now doing the same thing, seeing it, trying to change, and working at it, and doing it. So it's a good thing when you think about what's going on, right? It's a good thing.
I thank you.
Oh, no. Thank you. Thank you, Gerardo.
I'd like to say something.
Anyone else would like to say
Yes,
something?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I feel like the point here, it's we should be as an example, not necessarily, we're not here to stop anybody or to maybe to help, but not necessarily put what we think and make it people, oh no, this is how you do it, this is how you do it, because truly is through a model, through a good example, that we will be able to show others how to go to the right path. Not necessarily telling, like, you can't tell someone you have to stop drinking. They have to see with their own eyes that they should do that. I mean, you can bring to their knowledge, you can bring to their attention in the nicest way you can put it, but you can't. You like they say, you can lead the horse to the river, but you can't make it drink.
Right.
And so I think our what is the word? Our acting right here, our paper right here, is to be a model, to be a good example, so people can see that we have transformed ourselves. We have this understanding of God. This is, but most of people, a lot of people I know don't even want to listen. So, but then if they don't want to listen, they don't want to listen. We are here to bring the enlightenment that God gave us, and we bring the message, we forward the message, to others, brothers and sisters, so they can be ready for the hour of work. But come and get, you have to get ready for this journey. But still, we can't stop the evil. We can't stop nobody of doing this or doing that. We have to be the model for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the thing is, Ruth, is that we can't even stop ourselves, right? So
That's a
why
good point. That's one point, yes.
yeah, if we could really take care of us, it would be enough. That's why sometimes I say, not from a selfish perspective. How come there are so many people that occupies themselves so much about the life of others when we barely have time to deal with our own lives? So they are curious about the lives of others. They gossip, they do this and that, they say malice things. But the thing is, we barely have time to deal with our own selves and to try to make those changes in our own selves. And then it's so much easier for us to be pointing out the errors of others and trying to correct them. So that's why I think that Spirit Emmanuel has one of the teachings that he gives to us is that it is not our words that will impact the lives of others, but our actions, our examples.
Right.
So if we take care of ourselves, if we really start changing due to something that has brought clarity to us, people will be intrigued, and perhaps will try to take the same path for themselves, seeing how much it has impacted us. I have to say bye for now.
Okay.
So
Thank you,
with,
Susana.
with the other ones, and I'll go
Thank you.
for a next talk now. Okay.
Okay.
you,
God
Susana.
bless.
Take
Have a
good
nice
care.
day.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
week.
Bye, Gustavo.
Let me see how
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I leave the meeting here that I don't know. Stop sharing.
Very
Okay.
God.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Any more comments about what we just read?
Yeah, I have a comment. I'm Ines.
Yes.
What do you do with a person, loved one, family one, that I'm trying to explain to her? She doesn't want me to go out. She doesn't want me to do anything. Mommy, don't go out because you're going to get it. You're going to get sick. Tell her, Michelle, please listen to me. Listen to me, please. What's going to happen is going to happen. No, you're looking for it. You're looking to get sick. I don't want you to go out. It's like an obsession. I know who she is, but I'm trying so hard to try to explain to her what's happening. Her ears are closed. Her ears are closed. And she's getting sick over it, which she's very emotional. But I tell her, I don't want this kind of love. Try to understand. She knows what I believe in and everything. She always tells me, you're always going to the spiritual group. Always telling me all this obsession. I look at her. I have to keep quiet, but I don't want to get emotional and sick over it because it's like, I don't want to go out. Maybe this will happen. I know it's not. It might happen. It might not. If it happens, I have to just calm myself down and just go and do. Now I've gotten into the shell that I'm going to go out and I'm going to do what I have to do. What do you do with a person like this?
I think, Ines, what I think about that is she's right, because what she's listening and all the news and what we are going through, she's trying to, with her love, is the way she has to show her love for you. And she brings that concern, Mom, don't go out, stay at home. Even though we know nothing's gonna happen without the will of God, when we have the possibility to preserve our health ourselves, why not? And if you can just listen to her with patience. I know you do that all the time, and pray for her. But if you wanna go, let's say, for a little walk, and you know all the rules now, the keeping distance, not doing, talking really, you know, all the rules. If you do that, I think you're okay. But try to see what she's saying to you as she's the loved one. She's fear to your health, to lose you as well. And we have to show our compassion. But of course, what you're saying to her, no, what's going to happen is going to happen. I think is true. It's our belief. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and put myself at risk. So I think now with all the difficult, the sorrows we are going through, and all this time, we have to show our compassion. That's what Ruth was saying about the examples. So we have to give all of them the examples. Adilson, would you like to add something?
Do I what?
No, I'm asking Adilson if he was
somebody else. Oh,
yeah.
When she was talking about her daughter, I think the first thing that came in my mind, every time somebody says something to us, there is always like something in between the lines that you might not be able to see it or to hear. And her fear in this moment of losing her mom, of her mom to get sick, maybe that's where you should be addressing. And look at her, why she's fearing, because we're all gonna lose our moms, yeah? They're in the sense of discarnation, they're gonna pass away. And one of the hardest things is for the mothers to lose their sons while they are still incarnate, or the vice versa as well, for the kids to see the possibility that their mom are gonna go away. So it might be an opportunity that you're being invited to really to prepare her in a different way. Because if she's showing any kind of fear, that is where the message is. Like, I think for us to observe who is beside us always and see what's the emotion that apparently is unbalanced, and is the invitation for us to help to educate them and ourselves as well. But for me, she's calling you. It's like screaming, and like listen to her voice, not exactly what she's saying, but what's behind what she's saying, the emotion that comes with the words that she's saying, because that's a lot for a mother to know what she needs to do it. But the other thing I think it's beautiful about this lesson, when we're talking about skeptics and the idea that why they would not be able to understand that life goes on, I think this happened to us as well, even having this understand. All of us have a mission here. We have like relationships that we need to address and to work. But many times, even studying all these books, even going to all the churches, doing our meditation, we really don't want to go in this journey within. We're afraid to know that inner voice. We're afraid to listen to our guardian angels. We're afraid to know, because they're going to talk to us. Our inner voice is going to talk to us. If you truly pray, if you truly meditate, being skeptical or not, there will be a voice always invite us to expand and challenge us to improve. And I think we fear that. We all fear, because we know the amount of work that we need to do and how much we're doing, being skeptical or not. This gives us a sense of fear of death. This gives us a sense sometimes even to, I think, to enabling us in a sense that we don't wanna know too much. Because if I start to know too much, it starts to become unbearable. Yeah, oh my God, do I need to work with my roommate in this level? Do I need to do these things in the Spirit Center? Do I need to look at myself in the mirror and be honest what I'm seeing right now? We become skeptical right away. Yes, a friend of mine passed away. Was this very young kid, 21 years old, and he was doing the God at Home with us. And actually not a friend. He started to do the God at Home 3 weeks from Brazil. We didn't know that he was going through a lot, physically speaking. He didn't die from the coronavirus. He had a lot of struggles, but a kid that has a lot of resignation, faith, And he was here for the past 3 weeks. He never complained. He was with a huge headache, extremely anxious. He didn't complain. He didn't say anything. He just listened. Many times you ask him if he want to say something. He smiled, big smile. And then one night before last night, he passed away. And Fernanda, who is the teacher since early age, expertise in the education for kids in Ipuã, the city where he is, he's 21 years old, but he looks like a kid. He's in a wheelchair. He was in a wheelchair. She was desperate yesterday in the morning because he passed away. She felt as a mother, she felt the pain. And then when she opened the gospel according to Spiritism, they said if he was a good person, he'll die. And do you know, like sometimes even having all the knowledge that she has, there was a moment of disconnection, a moment of pain. When you go through a lot of emotional pain, you are going to go, all of us here. When you get physical pain, financial pain, when somebody passes away near to us, as much as you say that this knowledge is going to be okay, there will be a moment that you're going to lose. And I think the idea is, how can I reconnect it? Yeah, how can I leave the side of being skeptical to the side of the faith? Because each one of us are going to be challenge our faith over and over again to higher levels. I think I'm like in this level 10, then comes a challenge level 20. And I need to spread my wings of knowledge and love to be able to develop that. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone has another comment or question?
I have a question. Because I am just learning about Spiritism, my mom passed in September, and I'm at peace with that. And looking at what the discussion was today about the quality of your actions, I guess my question is, like you were talking about with fear, do you think sometimes silence is also a sign of fear? Because my eldest sisters are not in touch. They haven't had a relationship with each other for years, but they don't, it's like they have gone to their family, their husband, their kids, each of them, and I don't have that, but they won't communicate. So I work on having good intentions, good actions, kindness, joy, forgiveness, and their silence also is painful.
Philip, would you like to add something for that?
I don't know if that made sense.
Yes.
Can I say something?
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, Ruth. I'm Fabio. I don't know if we met before, but it's also kind of, I think goes back a little bit to what Ines was saying. And I'm just going to use, mothers and daughters as an example. My family, for instance, my mother and my sister, they have been mother and sisters many times over, exchanging the roles. Right now, my mother is my mother, and my sister is my sister, but there were points where I saw my sister being the mother of my mother. And this happens to so many women. There's a lot of women that I know that I can see immediately that connection, that story. And I think you're very new to Spiritism. You said, I don't know how long you've been reading Kardec's work, but Ines knows this very well. But this is, relation to mothers and daughters, the way that I've been exposed to was because I also have been in that connection with my mother. I was her mother and she was my daughter in previous incarnations. Mm-hmm. And she and I have a strong connection. So I am not saying that this is the case with you or anybody else in this group, but I have seen cases where the daughters lost their mothers in previous incarnations, that their mothers were their daughters, either in pregnancy or they were murdered or they died of diseases. So I've seen that sometimes the instinct of this affliction comes from this innate or hidden desire to protect the mother or protect the daughter, which is, you know, you as a mother, and, you know, Vera agrees with me, I'm sure there's no way to describe the connection that you have with a child. So, and I think Spiritism shows that our actions based here are always reflected to the current times, which is always discarded in a way, because our real life is spiritual and is eternal. So we try through every incarnation to fine-tune ourselves as a better spirit, because regardless of what's going on here right now with the virus or whatnot, we're going to go back to the spiritual world. And then we're going to have to deal with the issues that we haven't dealt in the past there, and the issues that we haven't dealt in this incarnation that we're giving as an opportunity to fix them. And because we ran out of time, we ran out of courage, we ran out of faith, and we accumulate new stuff, which is something that we now, this is I think the phase that I am right now, I'm trying not to accumulate more. I'm trying to make peace and resolve issues. It's sort of the same idea behind the 12 steps in a way. You know, that's applicable to alcohol or an addiction. But if you remember your addiction of talking about bad about your sister, or the addiction about hating your aunt for some reason, you know, that addiction that you don't even pay attention to anymore, because it's a very strong thing that you have to deal with, and you might not even resolve in this life. You know, you think about always you in relation to the people around you. Start from there always. You know, everything is related to the family, because the Spiritism also teaches that you come back here many times over in the same family. So everybody that you have around you are going to interact with you in the future, in another incarnation, in various numbers. People that you had lived lives 200 years ago are probably going to be with you in 50 years. You know, there's always this intermingling of all these people that are connected, trying to survive and trying to love one another. That's what I had to say. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Fabio. Now I think we can go to the end of our meeting.
Okay.
So we ask our sister Zoraida to do our final prayer.
Let's now take a few moments with our hearts full of gratitude, giving thanks to the spiritual benefactors that have come here in assistance to our meeting, as always helping us and assisting us to put into practice all that we have studied here today. For all that's going on in this planet Earth, sorrows, the pain and suffering of our loved ones, we have to understand it's just not that we think that is sorrow and pain, but it's a renewal to look at ourselves, to change our ways, to understand who we, the spiritual being, the essence, the spirit of who we are, to take time now to correct, to understand what we're doing and where we're going, the importance of being here on this planet Earth, change our ways, to work, to do as much studies as we can to improve ourselves. And not only for ourselves, but for humanity. All that we have been taught through Spiritism, just as Jusada so nicely explained. All religions are good. They are all doing what they can through prayers and through their faith. As Spiritists, we understand this world and where we're going, that this is not the only life, that we will come back 1,000 more times. And God is so good, He gives us this opportunity to work, but to do more in action than in words. You want joy and happiness, then we have to work for it, and work hard. And now that we're going through this virus that has taken over, but not in reality, we have the power, we have the strength to continue working in everything that we have learned here through Spiritism, the good, the faith, and the study. All will come to good. So let's continue every day to keep our hearts and our soul and spirit in a good place. May our Father guide us as we continue our everyday lives. God bless all those that are in hospitals and hospices, the orphanages, the homeless, all that are going through so much pain and sorrows. Keep our prayers focused on them. And we especially give a prayer to our brother Elmo and all that surrounds him. God bless him and all that are doing his work also. Dear God, thank you. Allow us to meet again next week and to continue our studies with love and devotion. Thank you, dear Lord, and with that in mind, we ask our spiritual benefactors to close our meeting today. So be it.